Hello.
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 Srinivas.
Yeah. Hi,
Hello.
Aditya. Hi,
Hi.
Aditya. Good evening.
Good evening.
Let me share my screen. You're able to see my screen now?
Yeah.
These are the topics which were discussed during our last class. Have you heard
Yes.
of any of the topic?
No.
Clear, right? You're able to practice on all those.
Yes.
Yesterday, we just discussed about what is polymorphism, right? We just haven't
Yes.
digged into the riddle.
J- mm.
Function overloading.
Mm.
This comes under the compile time polymorphism. Actually, polymorphism has two things like compile time and the runtime. Okay.
Mm.
So the function overloading comes under the compile time polymorphism. Means at the time of compilation itself, like, the things are going to be verified here. The
Oh,
rules.
at compilation time?
So it's going to verify.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell some rules about the function overloading. So it's going to check about all those things at the time of compilation time.
Okay.
Okay. So when I say it's like a function overloading, so mainly means we are providing a multiple option with the same function name. Means we are going to have a more than one function is going to have the same name.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in your class, let's say you have created a hi function, hello. The same function I'm going to create multiple times. So same
Okay.
function name. But the rules that needs to be followed is, so you can have the another function with the same name, but you need to have the three things that needs to be followed. Number of parameters should be different, and type of parameter should be different, and order of parameter should be different. By following
Okay.
three lines, you can have the same function name in your class. The function overloading means having number of function with the same name. So if you
Okay.
copy the same structure, doesn't work, right? Because
Yes.
with the same method name, it doesn't work out. The same parameter. So what you need to provide is a combination. So what are the things that you can provide? You can change the number of parameters. Maybe in the first method, might be only one parameter. Now you can come up with the two parameters. So it will allow you. Go with the same parameter, it will not allow you. It will give you the compile time issue. So number of parameters and the type of parameters. In the first method, you might have integer, and the second method, still I can go with one parameter, but I can change the data type, right? Type of
Okay.
parameter. And then I should order of parameters. Maybe in the first method, I might be having integer and string. So in the second method, I can say string and integer. So it's another combination, right?
Okay. Different data types and different combinations. Okay.
Yes. Number
Okay.
of
Okay.
parameters you can change, and different type of parameters and their order.
Okay. Order. Okay.
Yeah, order is a third combination. So these are the three things that comes into picture when you're working with the overloading. By following these three things, you can have any number of combinations to make it unique in your class.
Okay, one is data type, second one is order, and third one is
Number of parameters.
number of parameters. Yes.
Number of
Okay.
parameters that you are passing to it.
Okay.
Most common interview question with the function overloading. They'll give you some function, they'll ask you whether does it comes under. Just to confuse you, they'll give you one method and function overloading and overriding. They'll ask you like which method comes under overloading and which method comes under overriding. Most of the times people used to confuse, though they are confident. So when the interview asks, so just because of lack of hands-on, they used to confuse.
Okay.
A common interview question which you can expect with respect to overloading and overriding. Okay.
Okay.
So we're just creating overloading class. So let's say I would like to have the multiple summing methods. Which is one combination, right? So if I copy the same structure, will that work? No, right? Because this is compile time. The time of compilation itself is going to give me the issue. That means here I am violating. So function name I followed the same thing, but I am violating the second one.
Parameters,
The
yes.
same. So either I can remove one, right?
It accepts.
So because this is error because B is not for, that is a different case. So either I can go for additional thing in B and C, right? It accepts because I followed the third one, the number of parameters. I have increased the parameters to make it unique combination. Like that, I can go for any number of combinations. The first rule. And the second one, type of parameters. Let's say same structure doesn't allow, but if I change the data types,
it allows.
Because it's a new combination for it.
Yeah.
Right? Type of parameters allows. Next one, order of parameters. Suppose you have int and float now.
Okay.
So I cannot have int and float, but I can have float and int.
Okay.
Look at my all these methods. Every method is unique. This takes both ints. This takes both float. This takes int and float. This takes float and int. This takes 3 parameters, so it's integer, right?
Okay.
Are unique at any cost if you observe.
Yeah.
Now,
okay. Can we change that int A and int B as int B and int A? I mean, we can reverse the order with same data types.
We can change this one, right?
Yes. Only the
this is just
variable name.
Yes. That we can.
With same data type.
Yes, we can. But only thing, that data type combination should not be repeated anywhere within your class.
Okay.
If you're following that, then it's a unique one, right?
Okay.
It's just a name you are interchanging, nothing else. Right?
Understood.
So, I repeat those things. So when you are designing your function overloading, you need to think 3 points. So function name should be the same. That's the primary thing. That's by default one. On top of that, number of parameters has to be
different.
And the type of parameters has to be and the order of parameters. Number of parameters, type of parameters, order of parameters. These are the 3 things that needs to be considered when you design. So now, let's say I'm calling when I say sum, see this is the 5 combinations, right? It is allowing me the 5 combinations. 5 methods we have created, right? When I say from dot sum, is giving me 5 methods. So suppose I give 10 and 20. These are numerics, right? 10 and 20 to 2 numerics means this goes to this method. If I go to so 1 numeric and 1 float, so this go to this one, right? So this both floats goes to this one. So it depends on the value. It checks the value that you passed based on the data type. It checks like whether which is the method which is satisfying that particular number of parameters around the data type. Then accordingly it invokes that particular method.
Okay, when we declare the float values, we need to declare it like the 10.0 f.
Yes. So when you're giving the value, if you give 10, by default it will not be float, it will be int.
Okay, I mean 10.0?
10.0 is it's a double value.
Okay, double, okay.
So here you will get an error because none of the method is having the double, right?
Double, right, yes,
So
yes.
let me change.
No.
Result, right?
Mm.
It gives
Yes.
a combination. Like by default, if you are not giving a float, if you give f, it treats as a float. If you're not giving
Okay.
f, it will be treated as a double, the bigger number. You know,
Okay.
right? As per the size of the table that we are discussing in the third class,
Mm.
the same it works.
Rem-
Function overriding. The overriding means the function overloading is it can have the same class and the different class, but when you are working with the overriding, it always has to be in the two classes. Means here we are talking about the overriding, right? We have seen already a couple of overriding examples if you remember,
Yes, yes.
right? There is a parent class and there is a override child class, right?
Mm.
Overriding is from there, like so you can override a function which is there in your base class.
Mm.
Here also you need to have the same structure, right? Whatever
Yes.
the structure you are given in the base class, you
Mm.
are going to have the same structure in your derived class.
Derived class. Mm.
Accordingly, you can override the functionality which is there in from base to the derived one. So,
Mm.
because we have already seen a couple of examples, I'll directly show you the similar example. You have to create the package. I was coded in the yesterday's folder. Just moving in today's folder, nothing else. Right here, there is a base class method. So, in your derived class, you are overriding without
Yep.
even aware that other guys that you have overridden, right?
Yes.
Suppose if this method is not there, so somebody is created for instance for this class car. So by default, it gives you the logic from this one because there is no run method in derived. But when you
Mm.
override this logic, so it's going to call the run method from here, right? But it is transparent to the user, right? If
Yeah.
someone is calling car, he doesn't know like whether it's calling method from this one or this one. For him, just the run method is invoking. He can
Okay.
basically the derived class.
Mm. Mm.
So method override is used to provide a specific implementation of a method that is already provided in a superclass,
Okay.
right?
So, okay. Mm.
The superclass is already something is there, so you're just changing the logic at the downtime.
Okay.
The rule
Okay.
here is must have the same name as the parent class, must have the same parameters as its parent class, must have the
Okay.
easy relationship,
Okay.
right? Same name, same parameters. If you give some other parameters, like let's say this is doesn't have any parameter. If you give some parameter,
Mm.
so what happens? So this is a different method. So somebody is calling a run method by default, it calls this one, right?
Mm.
Because this altogether this doesn't come under overriding. You know, right? Does this come under overriding?
No, no. Why? Because we
There is nothing in the base class. Then you cannot say that I'm overriding something in the base class, right?
mm, just we pass the parameter down in the in the
In the derived class. That means it's
yeah in the
from
derived class.
it's a new method which I just named as a run method, which is having different parameters. So it cannot come under a overriding because just a new method to my car class.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So rules are, you should have the same name as that of the parent class along with the parameters, and you should have the relationship as is a relationship. Suppose if there are any exception handling, so still we haven't discussed, right, exception handling. If
No,
there are any exceptions in your base class, so that exception should be less than or equal to base class. Means suppose this message throwing an exception, so you can throw the same exception here, or you can reduce the exception size here.
Okay.
Okay. So because we haven't seen any example about the exception, so right now I'm not doing anything. Anyway, we are going to do the exception down the line, right? Just at that point, you can remember that exception. If you want, you can use it in the overriding, but it should be the lower level of your topmost exception. Okay. Now you're clear the overriding on overloading.
Yes.
Now just review the point like difference between these two. Like what are the points?
Okay.
Okay. So when the function overriding and overloading. Overloading is a method to increase the readability of your program, right?
Okay.
So that means if you look at my program, I can say some method, but some has various variations, right?
Okay. Yeah. Each method has a different variation.
Different variations. What overriding is used to provide a specific implementation of the method that is already provided in your base class.
Okay.
So overloading is performed within the class. Within a single class, overloading. So we did everything, right?
Yes.
There is overriding.
Yes.
This overriding means you need to have two classes, parent and child.
Parent and child.
So you need to have the relation established as easier. In case of overloading, parameters must be different, right? When parameters must be different, right?
Yes.
Make it even combination. In case of overriding, parameters must be same.
Same, yes.
Parameters, you should have the same parameter here.
Same parameter, yes.
Then only it comes into overriding. Overloading is the example of compile time. This is the example of compile time.
Overriding?
Is an example of runtime.
Okay. Yes, okay. Runtime and overloading.
Overloading is example of compile time and overriding is example of runtime.
Run. Okay.
Got it, right?
Three differences, yeah.
Clear?
Yes, understood.
It's the abstract class and its benefits. Like, have you ever seen what is an abstract class?
No.
Have you heard the name?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay. Only name you heard?
Only name.
Okay. So the abstract, generally, you might have seen something about interfaces, right? Interfaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has some relation to it, like.
Okay, in interfaces, we do just define the methods. That's it. We don't give in detail about. We don't write the body in that.
Exactly.
Braces.
Interfaces are nothing but pure abstract classes. So let's get into the details of abstract, then we can compare with them. Abstract classes are classes which cannot create an object, because abstract classes are those classes which have methods with implementation or without implementation. They can only be used for deriving a subclass from them. In interface, we have only provided method signatures, right?
Yeah.
So apart from that, we cannot do anything. But in the abstract class, we can provide methods with body or without body.
Okay. In abstract class.
Yes. You can provide with body and without body. Okay. Advantage here is abstract class cannot be instantiated. So cannot be instantiated. When I say instantiated, it's creating an object. Like let's say if employee equal to new employee, I cannot do for abstract class.
Okay, I mean we can't create the instance.
Yes, we cannot create the instance for abstract class.
Okay.
Those are not meant for creating instance. Those are meant for using as a base class. So someone else has to have a relation, easy relation to my abstract class, then they can create an instance for their class.
Yes, yes.
But so I'll repeat. So we cannot create an instance because the abstract classes are those classes which have methods without implementation. If you create an instance, suppose if it is allowing instance, so when you call a method, it should provide you the logic, right? But because
Yeah.
abstract class are classes, some of the methods I can have without body. So
Okay.
that's where like, they have stopped allowing you to create instance because those are not meant for you to use directly. There is something else is there in the behind.
Okay.
The
So
primary
if another classes are using that abstract class, they need to implement that method.
exactly they need to provide the logic. So that's where the overriding comes into picture, and we are going to write the logic for those things.
Okay. But in abstract class, it may or may not contain the method
Logic
implementation.
exactly can have
Okay.
both.
Both. Yes. Mm.
The primary reason why we need to go for abstract class is code
Mm.
redundancy. Means let's say if two or
Mm.
more classes have the same common method among them, and
Okay.
these methods can be coded in the abstract class so that derived class can enjoy the functionality. Let's say we both
Mm.
are doing the functionality, but we both are following the we need to perform the same logic.
Okay.
If you are also doing the same thing, I'm also doing the same thing. It's a
Mm.
code repetition, right?
Yes.
So what we can do, we both will come to an understand and we'll create one base class. Inside that, we will put our common logic there.
Okay.
We both have a relation with that class as a easy relation. So
Okay.
the
Huh.
common logic
Okay.
we're keeping in the base class.
Yeah.
So we both are, so here, if anybody look at our design, we both
Mm.
are using the principles of easy and we are reaching that. So we are not copy pasting, we are not repeating the code, which is not at all good practice, right?
Oh, you're extending it.
So there is no impact here. There is no native impact. In fact, all are like advantages. Like code is reusable, and so at any point of time, I can use the same code. I can modify. Here I'm just referring to only two guys. Assume the 10 guys are there.
Hmm.
10 guys are having same methodology. Copy pasting is not advisable. So all guys come to an understand, and they'll create one base class. Inside that, they'll write the logic, and all of us going to extend the same method, and we get the same logic. Advantage of
Okay.
centralized control means in future if there is any change to a logic,
Hmm.
I go to this class and I'll modify. I'm not going
Oh.
to talk to all these 10 guys.
Mm. Mm.
So here example I took a 10 guys. Assuming that it can be 100 guys, right?
Mm.
So nowhere like we are talking with respect to person specific. So in the base
Mm.
class, if you have a method, anybody can use that method. If I modify the logic, so obviously that reflects to everywhere because everybody is having the call navigation to my base class.
Mm.
So here, the first advantage with abstract is code
Mm.
redundancy. You are going to reduce the code redundancy.
Mm.
And the next one, enforcing standardization. Means, as we take an example of the same thing, two or more classes derived from the same abstract class containing method performing identical tasks, then the abstract class can enforce the common naming standard mechanism by putting it as an abstract method in the base class. Assuming that if the uh, method logic is different
Okay.
for both the classes, you need to display the show details and then also
Okay.
display show details of my employee. So
Mm.
assume that you are dealing with the student object and I'm dealing with the employee object. So
Mm.
if I ask you to create a show display details of your object, you might
Mm.
name something as public void display and you write the logic, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
I might write a method as public void show details and display. So intention of both these methods are to display the details, right? But
Yes.
I have named it as display, but I have named it as show details.
Mm.
So primary function is same, but the naming is different name. So if you have someone else, he might give a name as show, right?
Mm.
But we want something to be standardized here.
Mm.
Means I would like
Mm.
to give the naming to be standard. Means I want
Mm.
the name should be in sync with all the methods. So in future, you can write the logic whatever you want. So what I can do in my base class, I'll provide a method
Okay.
without implementation.
Okay.
So when you extend your base class, you
Mm.
are going to use that method. Write
Okay.
your logic there.
Mm.
I'm also extending the same base class.
Mm.
I'll get the same method signature. I'm going to write that logic here. Okay. If you're
Mm.
using a normal class, what happens?
Mm.
So first of all, you need to provide the logic in the base class, right? You can
Mm.
override the logic. But here, I do not have
Mm.
any base class logic. So I'm only a method signature, I'm just enforcing. But the logic is choice of yours. What I have to do, I have to go for the
Mm.
abstract class. In my abstract class, I'll just provide the method signature that public
Mm.
void the method.
Mm. Mm.
I have to mark that method as abstract because when I say my mark method as abstract, that indicates that I'm not going to provide any logic. Whoever is going to use my class, it's their responsibility to provide the logic. That's the abstract
So,
keyword indicates.
so in base class, we declare the class as abstract with abstract keyword.
Yes, class as an abstract keyword, method as an abstract keyword. I'll come to
Okay.
that point. So the base class
Mm.
provide the method as abstract.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, when you provide the method as an abstract, whoever
Mm.
is using your base class,
Mm.
his responsibility to write the logic. In case if he's not providing the logic, compiler is going to give us an issue.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm.
so we are enforcing a standard here.
Okay. Okay.
2 points.
Mm.
Primary advantages, both are interrelated. So I'll repeat. First, code
Mm.
redundancy.
Yes,
Assume
first one
that,
is code redundancy.
assume
Mm.
that we both have the same logic. So same
Mm.
logic means why to have the same logic in replicating the all guys. We'll move that
Mm.
logic to base
Mm.
class. Means
Mm.
the logic is there. So
Mm.
copy pasting and move to base class.
Okay,
Okay.
so if you want to use the code at multiple places, so to reduce the code redundancy,
We move to base class.
okay, okay,
That's
base
first
class, okay.
advantage.
Mm.
Second advantage, so logic is different for all of us,
Mm.
but the intention is same, means showing
Mm.
up the details,
Mm.
right? So you
Mm.
might go for show details, I might go for display, someone else go for show,
Mm.
someone else go for display data. So here
Mm.
all are doing different naming convention. Here I
Mm.
wanted to enforce a standard that all should go for same naming convention. So what
Mm.
I'm going to provide a method in my abstract class
Mm.
with the keyword abstract means I'm just only providing a method name, not going to write
Mm.
any logic because I don't know. Basically,
Mm.
just not tied to any particular entity. I just
Mm.
provide a whoever is extending from this class, it's his responsibility to write the logic there,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
These are the two things that needs to come into picture. The abstract.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So abstract is the keyword that you need to mention is that you need to use it along with your method name to mark
Mm.
any particular method as an abstract.
Mm.
Got it?
Mm.
Any confusion as of now?
No, no.
Clear, right? So now the abstract class cannot be instantiated that we have already discussed, right?
Yes.
Any changes containing at least one abstract method. So any class containing at least one abstract method, you must declare that class as an abstract. Means let's say you have coded a class. Inside that you plan it to have an abstract method. First you plan it to have a method which without coding. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to achieve that, you need to mark your all are linked here. If
Mm.
you want to write a method in your class without logic,
Mm.
so what you have to do, you have to mark that method as abstract.
Mm.
Okay. In your
Mm.
class, if at least one method is declared as an abstract, then you
Mm.
mark your class as an abstract.
Mm.
Got the linking? If you do not want to write any method without logic, what you have to do?
Okay.
You have to mark that guy as abstract.
Abstract.
So when you mark any method in your class as an abstract, then you
Mm.
have to mark your class as an abstract. Then
Mm.
only it will compile.
Okay.
All are linked here.
Uh,
When you need to go to office, so someone has to drop. So there is a
okay.
linking here.
Okay, okay. Huh.
Got it? So I'll
Mm.
repeat. So if you would, you have created a method class. Inside the
Mm.
class, you have provided a method. But for one method, you feel that I do not want to write the logic. I'll leave it to the implementation, like whoever is using my class.
Okay.
So if you wish to do that, so you have to mark your method as abstract.
Abstract. Okay.
That I'm not providing a logic. That's what your intention is. Up to that, you are clear. When you just
Oh,
mark your
after that, I mean, I have a doubt that before the class also we need to declare that it is an abstract class.
yes,
So, if we want to declare any method as abstract, then we need to declare the class also as abstract class.
exactly. So if you are not
Okay.
declaring, it will not allow you. Means
Okay. Okay.
at least one method is there in your class as an abstract. Then
Mm.
you must declare your class as an abstract.
Okay.
When you declare your class as an abstract, then the
Mm.
next rule comes into picture. You cannot create instance for your app class because no, it's an abstract class.
Mm. Mm. Yes.
Apart from that, as usual, abstract class can have constructors.
Mm.
But
Abstract classes can have constructors. Yes.
yes, as usual, the rest everything is same.
Okay.
Now first I'll show you the class without abstract. Then on top of that I'll apply the abstract to show you that how it's going to be.
Okay.
Just copy the already example. So here, let's say I do not wish to provide the logic. First of all,
Okay.
I can create a, in this case, I can create instance for my class, right? Same
Mm.
way I can create instance for
Car.
both I can do. So there is no compilation issue. Now
Mm.
I am marking this method. I do not want to provide the logic for it.
Okay.
So when you just skip, so what you are saying simply says that the method requires a body instead of a semicolon. So it is
Okay.
expecting that. So but
Mm.
what
Mm.
your intention is I do not want to write the logic. So
Mm. Mm.
I'll mark my method as abstract. Okay. Now
Okay.
let's want to the abstract method can only be
Run.
defined in the abstract class. What it is saying, you can write the abstract method only in the abstract class.
Okay.
So
Okay. Mm.
what you have to do, you have to convert your class in abstract. When you
Mm.
convert your class in abstract class, immediately
Mm.
the next error came into picture is two errors. One is here, other one is here.
Instance.
This one,
Mm.
where it's saying cannot instantiate the type vehicle because
Mm.
now the class becomes abstract.
Mm.
Another error here, the
Type
car one
carbon
must
must.
implement generator means you said there is a method, right? Without
Ah.
so
Ah.
this guy's
We need.
responsibility to provide the logic for that method.
Yes. Yes.
So if you place a mouse pointer, must
Okay.
implement the inherited abstract method run.
Okay.
So, but here the without parameters with parameters. So that's where it is expecting you to have the without parameters method. So just
Yes. Mm. Mm.
clean code.
Okay.
So instead of directly doing complete example, I want to show you the step by step. So just a connectivity.
Okay. Okay.
Then it makes it more clear.
Yeah. Mm.
Otherwise, simply doing the typing this example running doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So now you're clear. So any method. So at the same time, suppose you want to write a method which is all other rules as usual which apply.
Um,
So showing details. If you are overriding this method in the derived class, so what I'm going to say, all the regular rules like overriding, overloading, all those things comes into picture as usual on top of the abstract. So in your class, if you want to declare a method without body, you can do that. You need to mark that method as abstract. When you mark your method as abstract, at least one method in your class is abstract, then you need to mark your class as an abstract class. Once you mark your class as an abstract, then you cannot create actions for it, and at the same time, whoever is having a relation, whoever is to have a relationship with you as
class
a
vehicle one. Yes, car one
they
is
are
having.
supposed to provide the implementation for all the methods.
Okay.
So here, assuming that, now I'll extend it further, the same example. So this method, you have provided the logic here, right? Let's say this guy also do not want to provide the logic. So what happens? Will that work?
No, we need to implement that, right?
So, but there should be some. If you do not know the logic, so your hands up now. So what you have to do?
Don't know. You said that
So
it's
anything comes into picture now. If you do not want to write the logic, yes, you can do. Then you need to mark yourself as abstract.
okay. We can okay.
When you mark
Here
yourself as an abstract, you need to mark this your class itself be abstract.
oh, again, derived class will also be an abstract class and
It's also
abstract
class.
method.
It's also class, right? When
Oh
you
yes,
class as an abstract, you cannot do that.
yes. No instance for that.
It's not for only a base and abstract. It can be like any number of levels. The only thing is like the class who is having a relationship with the parent and child, those things applicable. Now, if I
Okay.
wanted to test this guy, I need to come up with one more class by extending this guy, right? Clear now?
Yes. Yes.
Hope no confusion.
Yes. No confusion.
No, the difference between the interface and the abstract. So we have already seen the interface sometime. So it has
Yes.
having some relationship with the abstract. So just we'll discuss about the point with respect to this two. Abstract class can have an abstract methods and non-abstract methods. Right?
Yes.
This is non-abstract and this is abstract.
Yes.
An interface can have only abstract methods. Any method which you declared by default, even though without typing abstract, by default all those are public abstract methods, right?
Abstract. Yes.
Abstract class doesn't support a multiple inheritance.
Abstract class does not support okay multiple inheritance. You said that Java itself it won't support this multiple inheritance, right?
Yes.
So why
Abstract class is,
specific?
abstract class is also class, right?
Oh yes. No, you're specifically you're saying that abstract class.
That is with respect to classes. We have there is a possibility with respect to interfaces.
Okay.
So that's where like I'm just so Java stop the with respect to the classes.
Oh,
The
okay.
classes you cannot have that multiple inheritance, but interfaces you can have. An interface you can extend multiple interfaces at the same time.
Oh, I think you said while discussing interface, huh? Okay.
We can have it okay in case
Oh.
if something is missed. So just repeating the same statement. Interface supports multiple inheritance.
Okay.
Okay, that means when I say multiple means we can have we can extend multiple classes, right? In general,
Yes.
the same way
Okay.
multiple interfaces.
So interfaces allow multiple inheritance.
Yes, multiple inheritance it allows.
Okay. So abstract won't allow.
Yes, classes
Okay.
won't allow the base one or the abstract one anything.
Mm.
Because we are just discussing about the difference between abstract and interface. So just showed you the comparison because this is interface is going to allow you, right? So that's what I would like to highlight.
Okay. Okay.
Abstract class can have final, non-final, static and non-static variables.
Okay.
All type of variables it can allow. Whereas interface can allow you only static and final.
Oh yes.
Even if you declare non-static variables, by default it will be converted into a static final variable. Abstract class can have static methods. Main method is the constructor.
Okay.
Because interface cannot have static methods.
Interface cannot have static methods.
Yeah,
Okay.
cannot have static methods, and we cannot have main method, and cannot have constructor.
Okay. Yes,
Abstract,
interface. Okay.
abstract class can provide the implementation of your interface. Means like in my abstract class, I can say implement some interface here. But interface cannot provide implementation for my abstract class.
Or implement cannot provide interface cannot provide implementation for abstract class.
Interface test. I can say that. In my abstract class, I can say that. Right? If some methods are there, I can provide the logic here. But interface cannot provide the implementation for the class abstract.
Okay. Oh, abstract class can implement interface.
Yes,
But interface cannot do
cannot
that.
provide cannot do anything, right?
No,
When I
yes.
say implement, so we are providing some logic, right? So when I'm saying implementing, so whatever the method which are there in the interface, I can provide the logic here, right? But the reverse is not possible.
Okay.
It's the keyword which is going to help us with.
So whenever we are going to implement the interface in abstract class, we need to implement the methods in the abstract class.
As usual. So let's say
Okay.
so the reason you observed why I have added public, even if you are not added a public, so by default it is a public methods, right?
Yes.
Public methods. So that's why we have to have the public keyword in front of it because we are in the base and the kind of like derived, right? So we need to have the proper implementation. Got it?
Abstract class contains abstract methods. I mean, no need to give the implementation for the methods. So when we are implementing the interfaces, interface is having void hello method. It is
Yes.
an abstract method. By default, it is an abstract method, right?
Yes.
So when we are implementing this interface in the abstract class, so we need to implement that method. I mean, we need to implement this hello method.
It's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. See here, this is an abstract method. It is allowed in the vehicle class, right? So
Yeah.
hello is an abstract method. It is allowed here because that's also abstract method. This is also abstract method. In case
No.
the class was not abstract, then it expect you to this. So let's say I'll remove the link here. I'll create one more class.
And no, my doubt is about that. So you're defining this hello method here in the abstract class. Void hello system.out.println test here in the abstract class. You're defining this hello method.
Yes.
So what is the need? As it is an abstract method in the interface, so we can keep it as it is in the abstract method.
Yes.
I mean, just void hello. That's it.
This is not mandatory. So I just implemented the interface here, right? So that means for this class, so similar to run, there is one more method called hello, which is an abstract. So now when I refer to this class class is having two methods now. Two abstract methods. One is run, one is hello.
Hello. So no need to define hello there in the abstract class.
Because you have already implemented, right? So the abstract itself you have implemented. In case you want to write the logic, you can write.
Okay.
You do not wish to write the logic, it's still abstract, so there is no issue with it.
Oh, okay. That's what I want to know, that one. Okay, yes.
If a class is not abstract, then it expects you to provide the logic for this one.
Okay.
So let's say class call to immediately expect you to write the logic for the hello method. See the error?
Okay, yeah. Must implement the inherited abstract, yes.
Yes. But in this case, there was no error because
Oh,
that is the abstract method marked as an abstract that you do not wish to provide the logic there.
okay,
If you
okay.
say that I'm not going to do one side, we are not going to ask you for the same question, right?
Oh, okay. No, you just defined the hello. That's why I got the
No,
doubt
I
that.
just provide the implementation for it.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
So I thought
textually,
that.
when I implement, no, it's not mandatory.
Okay,
In case if you wish to provide the logic, you can do that. That's all,
okay, okay.
right?
Oh,
If you're
understood.
abstract and you wish to write the logic, then
Mm.
mutator methods. Have you ever heard the word mutator?
Mutator. No, I didn't remember that.
So abstract and enterprise also most commonly interview questions like the difference between these two.
Mm.
Easily get it.
Mm.
The mutator methods are nothing but the regular method that we usually use get and set methods, collectively known as mutator methods.
Oh, get and set methods are mutators.
Mutators. The collectively
Okay.
getter and set. Let's say if you have employee number, you might write get employee number and set employee number, right?
Yes.
So those
It's
methods are called the mutator method, just for the naming.
okay.
Instead of asking what is the get method and set method, we might get a general that what is mutator methods. So we can say getter and setters are called mutators.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Next one, object, java.lang.Object.
Mm.
Java.lang.Object is the parent of all your classes. So any class, parent class, this is a topmost class for all your classes. Okay.
Okay,
All the
java.lang.
classes. Java.lang. Is a parent for all the classes in the Java by default.
Okay, whatever classes we are writing in the Java
What are
program.
we are writing and what are we are already existing in Java. For all
Oh,
those things, who is the topmost guy is the super senior. He is the
uh,
object class.
lang.Object.
So
Okay.
java.lang is nothing but java.lang is a package. Inside that, object is a class.
Okay, so object is parent of every class in
Every
Java.
class, yes, by default.
Okay, object is parent. Okay, okay.
Okay.
Mm. Understood.
It's a topmost class for all your classes. Like whether you, even for your classes, even if you're not extending also, still it will be by default. It's going to have the reference from the object class.
Okay.
Object class is having a couple of methods. Like for just to name a few. So I just named some one few names. These are the some of the methods that you usually see in all your classes. For example,
Mm.
let's say this is your class right now.
Okay.
Okay, very okay. I'll go to the previous example. This is your class, right?
Mm.
As we know that this class is having only these methods.
Okay.
That's what, right? After looking at the class, we can say that these are the 5 methods which are available in this class,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
But if you say f dot star, it's going to have a lot of methods. Let's say equals. Equals, did we create it? No, right?
Mm.
So it is part of the object class. So because by default all the Java classes that you code are already existing are by default having a reference to the object class. So all the methods which are there in the object class, you directly access it as if like those are already coded in you.
Okay, by default, all these classes are correlated to
Yes. So
objects.
did we create an equals method? No, right?
Yes, okay,
So how
okay.
can I say that f dot equals
Mm.
my class? So it's a toString. We coded toString, no, right? The
Oh,
right
yeah.
that is part of object class, but still you're able
Okay.
to access it.
Okay.
So no errors will be observed. Right? So after toString is going to give you the string representation of an object.
Mm.
So all
Mm.
the object class has many methods. All those methods by default will be available in all the classes because of the topmost accessibility.
Mm.
But the object purpose,
Mm.
so all the methods which are there in the object class, every
Mm.
class, every method is going to have like from your class you can access it directly.
Mm.
Those are coded in that because you are having by default having a relationship with the object class which is your topmost class, topmost method
Okay.
for everything.
Mm. Mm.
Clear?
Mm. Yes.
No.
No.
Instance of operator. Instance of operator is used to test whether the object is an instance of a specific type. So it can be like you can check the type for a class, subclass, or interface.
Mm.
It is a type comparison operator because it compares the instance with the types. It returns two values, so either it can return true or false.
Okay. We can't create instance for interfaces also, right?
Instance is only for classes.
Only for classes, not okay. Okay. Just now you said something about the instances of type interfaces also. That's why I got out.
You can declare a variable for your class, right? A variable for
Yes.
your interface, right?
Uh,
So you can compare with that interface.
mm, mm,
What are the variable you are declared is of type
mm,
so and so reference.
mm.
So then we can check whether this is of so and so type. So I said like instance of operator is used to check whether the object is an instance of a specific type. Means it can be like class, subclass, or interface. So it can be comparable with that. So if your class is implementing an interface, and you can compare obviously that class with that interface.
If my class is okay.
Implementing an interface, you can compare that with an interface.
Okay. Okay.
Got it?
Oh, if my class is implementing interface, then I can compare
Compare
the.
with that interface as well.
Okay.
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 I'll show you the example in tomorrow's class. I just
Okay.
provided just a description. Any doubts
Uh,
apart from this?
no. Clear.
Right.
Mm.
Okay, Harita. I think we are
Okay.
good for today, and we'll do an example from this topic tomorrow's class. Okay.
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 Okay. Bye.
And bye. Good night.
Today I forgot to record, but already recorded starting. No, just forgot to record alter.
Okay. Is it starting?
Yeah, but as I don't see the recording button.
Let me know after completing. In case if it missed, ping me. I'll send you the shared version similar to the
Okay,
last.
sure.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Okay then. Bye.
Thank you. Harita. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.